Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Hope you guys are doing wonderfully well. Antonio Conte has departed. We knew it was going to happen. We were just wondering when it was going to happen, and it has now happened. There has been a statement. Here is the statement. We can announce that head coach Antonio Conte has left the club by mutual agreement. Obviously, I mean, mutual. He sort of threw his notice at them, really, if we're honest. I think this statement, by the way, is very. I mean, I guess you've got to be mature, isn't it? You can't throw stones, but essentially that's what Conte did. Anyway, we achieved Champions League qualification in Antonio's first season at the club. We thank Antonio for his contribution and wish him well for the future. Had to be done, right? Had to go. There was no other way around it. I mean, there was that. The only way you did it was that heel turn that I was talking about, and it should have happened quickly, like within 48 hours, going, I'm not happy with this, but I'm staying and I'm going to change it. But instead, he's just so desperate to go and essentially burnt himself. Does that make sense? Probably not. He burnt the whole job, his whole emotional attachment with the fans who consistently backed him, generally. Right? I know it was getting to a point where it was like, okay, this is really tough to watch. But they have continually backed the guy, and he just threw it. Kind of threw it in their face. Now, you'll probably disagree with that because actually the statements that he says is like, we get paid a lot of money, these people get paid a lot of money, The bottom line is, that as a body blow for Tottenham as a club, this is huge. This is absolutely huge because you've got a guy with the standing that he has saying it how it is. Now, I get the saying it how it is, but you do that behind closed doors. And so now, this is the biggest stick to beat Tottenham. And psychologically, it's not just a stick. It's a barrier. It's a barrier of sticks that can be taken and you can beat them with and then put back to create the barrier for Tottenham to have to get over mentally. Because, the lack of trophies is the talking point. And this is what Daniel Levy did. Very similar in terms of Mourinho and Conte in terms of just trying to get it done. Let's just get that monkey off our back. Let's just get that trophy. Let's sell our soul and we'll do it that way. And it's obviously not worked. And there's a very clear learning here. Very, very clear learning here. We'll get on to who the next man could be. But for Tottenham, in the packaging up of Tottenham, the angry Italian, the angry Portuguese man, the guys that think they are better than the club, they're not going to be the guys to get you over that barrier, I don't think. I think there'll be moments when you have that kind of underdog mentality and it'll work for you because you can kind of trust him, hold his hand and it'll take you through. But both teams, the Mourinho team and the Conte team, have played dire football. And I think, as I say, I've said this previously, you need that sort of energy and momentum to get yourself over the line so that you're not thinking about it and it needs to feel good. I do think that matters with Tottenham because I think sort of stodgy football is just not going to cut it. I also think there's a few things that need to be thought about. So, first of all, just to round that up, what Tottenham wanted, they sort of jumped the queue and didn't trust the process. They need to think that way forwards. Like, who's the guy who's going to carry us there? Not who's the guy who's going to look down and go, well, come on then. Because that's what's happened here. That is what happened. So what they want and what they need, I get the strategy. I think there's an element of ambition in it, and it's very easy for us from the other side of it to go, that was wrong. But hindsight is useful. And I think that has been proven here because when the results haven't been right, first of all, he's over the top. And secondly, he's sulky. And that's not a nice feeling for Tottenham fans. And thirdly, you haven't got a sort of style of play to rely on to go, well, at least we gave it a go. And that's what you kind of have with Poch. Back to the statement. Christian Stellini will take the team as acting head coach for the remainder of the season, along with Ryan Mason as assistant head coach. Give it Mace to the end of the season. Mason's back. Come on. He is this generation's Clive Allen. And I don't mean that as a negative. I just think he's just going to hover around, stick around. Maybe he'll move on and go and do other things, and hopefully he does. Because I think this is a great breeding ground for him in terms of his development. But yeah, I guess him Clive Allening it. But Stellini is interesting, right? Because surely, I think that there either feels like two different interesting elements here. One of which is Stellini disagrees with what Conte did, how he behaved, and wants that distance from that to sort of save the situation here and try and get Tottenham into the Champions League places. Or he just saw a real opportunity that actually I could have this. This might be my job. And I wonder if he has a different coaching identity to Conte, and there might be a difference of play. Be interesting to see as well that idea of difference of play. Have they got the players right now to go and do that? Would there be a change in system? That Everton game is going to be very, 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 very interesting. Daniel Levy obviously takes a lot of heat for this. There's an effect here in terms of, first of all, let's read the statement. We have 10 Premier League games remaining, and we have a fight on our hands for a Champions League place. We all need to pull together. Everyone has to step up to ensure the highest possible finish for our club. An amazing, please don't hurt me, loyal fans. So, I think what's interesting here is, first of all, let's talk about Conte. I think Conte will probably go and be able to get that big job in Italy again. I think he's very much loved there. But those other big jobs, the teams and the owners of those clubs will be incredibly reticent to give him these opportunities. And importantly, because if you look at the money that was spent, I think it was like 170 odd million or something like that. Is that right? That might be wrong. All the money that's been spent, all those players have not worked or not been wanted. And that's on Paratici to a point. But it's also, there's some players here that Conte wanted. Perisic hasn't worked. Basuma's come in. Did Conte want him or not? I mean, if he didn't want him, then what's going on? There needs to be that alignment there. And so for Conte, who has done the same thing in several clubs now, where he's just sort of spent all the money and then run off, or wanted to spend that kind of money. Now, I know you need to spend money, but he's just so volatile. Would you take that risk? Would you want to do that? And a great example is, Gary Neville was right, wasn't he? He said Conte's not a Man United manager. And the reason he's probably saying that is in that moment, Ten Hag, in terms of the sort of standards that he sets, but also the patience with which he can kind of do it, or ability to stay calm and composed at the very least, that's been so, so important for Man United in terms of their turnaround. But Conte doesn't have that. And so that's the thing, that although we look at the table and Liverpool and Tottenham, are where they are, Tottenham are in fourth, right? It's okay. It's okay. First of all, you've got, Liverpool and Chelsea, who have gone on some terrible runs, who should have been competition this year. Secondly, the football's been terrible, and again, it's felt like a really, really toxic relationship where you love them or you hate them, you love them or you hate them, you love them or you hate them, and that is not gonna lead to a lasting union. It's just gonna, because even again, when we look at that table, it's not that bad, yet it feels that bad. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy to me. And so that's what Antonio Conte has done. So in terms of the next manager and getting past that body blow that I was talking about, the Nagelsmann shout is interesting. We did a video talking about the perfect manager for every single team if they were to move on, if there had to be that change, right? Nagelsmann was in there for Liverpool because if there was going to be that change, and Klopp's been there a while, whatever. We thought Nagelsmann's a really, really good shout for them. Now, and then over the space of a week, he gets sacked. Now, it's not going brilliantly. They're not miles ahead when it comes to the Bundesliga. They've obviously got their Klassiker this week. But they were doing all right in the Champions League after a really difficult group and then making their way past PSG. So he's not a bad manager. And I'll tell you what, all the things that we've been talking about, I put Pochettino as the perfect manager for Tottenham. And you can go check out that video on the channel if you want. And I do think there still is a real reason to have someone like Pochettino back. But if you think about what Pochettino was fantastic at, he had both enough experience, not as much as Nagelsmann, but enough experience to have some answers, have that tactical acumen. But again, not as much as Nagelsmann, but he had that youth and youthful vigor to have the energy to do what I'm talking about, which is to get past these barriers. And Nagelsmann, to go there and maybe spend money a bit more acutely to play football that is fun to watch, where there's going to be goals, and importantly, to put together a team that can work and be effective without Harry Kane. Because I think that if Nagelsmann goes, I think Harry Kane, and this is obviously a shot in the dark, but the only thing that Harry Kane would stay for, I think, is Pochettino. Because I think even with Nagelsmann, although he's so, he's obviously a talented coach, it is an element of a risk for Harry Kane. Harry Kane knows Pochettino, and he might just want to go, look, I've come this far, I'm going to stick it out. And with Pochettino, I think we can maybe do that. Because Pochettino will have so much power in terms of what he wants, and I think he would be more likely to get it. The Daniel Levy thing that I thought was interesting here is that with Conte gone, and with the kind of, look, we'll just get the coach and he'll figure it out idea and strategy with Mourinho and Conte in terms of winners, now the heat which was on him before, now the new scapegoat is him and only him. Him and only him. So the next appointment is huge. But I think if he's smart, he has to think about life after Kane. And can this, those two managers previously, are they just defensive-minded managers? Can you play attacking, free-flowing football with Harry Kane and the team? I think you can. But he's completely within his rights to move on. And if you lose that amount of goals, I think it's 21 goals, is it? Hang on, let's have a quick look. There you go. 21 goals, yeah. If you lose 21 goals, you're going to need to replace them. And the bottom line is that Harry Kane will not be there forever. So sort of hanging on to that relationship, I think, is also dangerous. So can you go and find a manager that you can spend the next 10 years with and live life after Harry Kane? That is what needs to be thought through now. And that's Pochettino or that's Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann's obviously available right now. He's 35 years old. And as I say, has that experience and has dealt with, high pressure and was kind of unfairly sacked. So Nagelsmann is a great option. Those two are great options. Sergio Conceição at Porto. I heard Andy Brassel talking about him, saying that would be a really good option as well. I think it could be. And if we just have a look at the odds to finish up, Nagelsmann is one of the favourites. Mason, Pochettino, Oliver Glasner, sorry. Ange Postecoglou, I don't see that happening. But you never know. And Luis Enrique, I think that would, although the possession-based football would be good, I think the danger there is a similar thing with Conte and with Mourinho, where he thinks he's better than the club. That is an unacceptable thing to happen and ends in tears. Trust me. As a QPR fan, we had a manager who thought he was better than the club. And he probably was. But he didn't last long because he didn't care. You need a manager that wants to go to the top, but is also excited to be at Tottenham because of everything that Conte has said there. That smell from that will hang around for a long time. Honestly, I think it's such a huge moment. And I said it on a podcast with Flav recently. Like, you'll love him, but not recently. I said it on a podcast about a year ago, and he was saying, I love Conte. And I was like, he will leave in a way that makes you hate him forever. And that has certainly occurred. Pochettino, Nagelsmann, another name. Talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Go check out that video about the perfect manager as well. And also, I've got a video about Wonder Kids, revealing the next Wonder Kid. We've been doing it for 3 years now, and we've got quite a few right. So make sure you check out that video as well. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.